Mallett from Mallett Buildings. Thank you for joining me this afternoon. We continue our series on the war between Mallett Buildings and Fortify. Let me get started. Hey, Fortify's Fairy Tales. We're on number fourth one, number 4. And we'll get started. Look, you can call live, 337-391-5060. Give us a call. We'll talk. We'll have a discussion. Remember, $500 discount on military personnel, healthcare workers, educators, and first responders. We're very proud of that, and we're glad to advertise that we do that, unlike my competitors. Remember, you get $1,000 off any Elite or Signature building by just typing in cash on the screen, and when you come in, you get an automatic $1,000. This is our referral program. We give a $200 check for anybody that refers someone. All these people referred people to us, I think, this past year. But you don't have to have bought a building to get in the referral program. We'll send you a $200 check. If you tell them about us and they come, we're going to give you a $200 check. All right. We got a 30 by 30 by 12 for $24 a square foot. Folks, look at the square price, see if it's a deal. That's if the money is if it's your budget. Remember, all these buildings, these value buildings, which is our 3-star building, come with one 10 by 10 roll-up door, one 36-inch walk-through door, concrete slab with 4,000 PSI, 4-year workmanship warranty, 130-mile-an-hour wind rating, 26-gauge metal, concrete in every hole, scissor trusses, cable retention system. Okay, next sale, hey, a 30 by 50 by 12, same deal, $29,999, $19.99 square foot. Hey, we're also electrical contractors. Anytime you buy a building, if you want us to give you a price of doing electrical packages, we can do that too. All right, then we got a 40 by 60 for $17 square foot, $41,999. It comes with all the same things too. All right, your Mallett Signature comes with 2x8 scissor trusses, unlike the Value, which is our 3-star building. 5-on-12 roof pitch, roof and wall insulation, 2 10 by 10 roll-up doors, 6-year workmanship warranty. Everything else is in the Value building, except for those items. Okay. Unlike my competitors, we have packages that we sell and tell you what you're going to get. When they run an ad, they tend not to tell you what they're really bringing you, but they'll tell you they do the same as us. Then we get to the best building in the business. Look at everything this building comes with. All these green dots are the things that were added to make this the best building in the business. We go from 5 feet to 3 feet on the truss spacing, not from 10 to 9 on the post spacing, 2 10 by 10 roll-up doors, gutters and gutter brushes, 6-inch 4,000 PSI microfiber slab, post protectors, insulated windows, continuous ridge vents, wainscot, 145-mile-per-hour building. This is our 5-star building. It is the best building in the business, folks. And it's because of what's in it. All right, we send a spec sheet on all 3 buildings. When you call us, we're going to send you a spec sheet that breaks down exactly what you're going to get, tells you our qualifications, also tells you everything that each building has. And if you're shopping, you can go, now you know to make sure they're bidding on the same thing we're bidding on, okay? Make it apples to apples. And that's the way it should be. That's only fair that they know what I'm bidding and you, and them and me bidding on the same thing to get an apples to apples. We will bid anybody's price but $1,000, apples to apples, spec sheets. They don't really use spec sheets because they don't build these buildings. We custom build, but they don't give you a price with the complete package. All right, well, okay, the 5 red flags. You go to the years in business, Secretary of State, licensed at LSLBC. If they've been convicted, LSLBC, reviews on the BBB and Google, and visit the contractor's facility. If you don't do the red flags, this is the kind of stuff that can happen to you. See, it goes on and on. And all these people have been convicted of contractor fraud by the state licensing board. So be careful. I'll go over them in a second. Right here. All these red X's is what they're not telling you. They need to tell you what's going on. They're all less than 12 years in post frame, 20 years in post frame. If there's a check, they qualify. X means no. Violations, as you can see, accredited, 500 reviews. Folks, when you get to us, look here, all checks. Now, you know, yesterday or Monday or Friday, a gentleman emailed in, well, you're bashing. That's not bashing. You need to know this, I think. I did my own poll. I asked the customer, it was 100% said, we want to know this information. They're not going to tell you. They're not going to tell you how to, they're not going to propagate that they've been convicted, that they got no reviews. I do this to help you. If you choose to spend your money, at least you know what they've done. What's wrong with that? They don't want you to know it because you probably won't want to do business with them because you're liable to get in trouble with them. All right, you can fortify the front, but not the truth. Here we go. All right, this is Fortify. All these companies are one. They're all together. Okay? So whatever they did, once they combined, it fed to all of them, as far as I'm concerned. They've been convicted. They don't have the years unless they combine them. And most of these are all out of state. All these companies are out-of-state contractors. But I just want to show you the makeup of where Fortify comes from. It's all these groups, okay? And there's nothing wrong with that, but you just need to know that, okay? All right, Cornerstone, out-of-state, not licensed, hundreds of complaints. NCI, DBA, Fortify Building Suits, out-of-state, licensed for less than 6 months. Reed's Metals, out-of-state, convicted violator. Because they run together, all this is pertinent. All right, Fortify Building Suits, Sulphur, with great service, great materials. Well, the problem with that is 380 complaints with the BBB, 145 complaints in the last 12 months. I think you need to know this, don't you? My poll says everybody wants to know it. I mean, he's not going to tell you this. None of these companies are going to tell you this. You got to learn how to do your own research, or you can get hurt. Fortify has been a licensed contract for under less than 6 months. That's from the State Licensing Board. They're running under ECI Group. That's a DBA. That's fine. But look when they first got their license. Right here, 9/11/24. They hadn't been a licensed contractor. Yet they tell you they've been in business all these years. So apparently they were operating illegally. I've been doing it for 26. Old Pass from last year was Fortify license. And this is technical, but it makes a point. September 7th, residential contractor, that's what he advertised. Yet, he didn't get it till 9/10. It's a small thing, but just goes to show you what they're capable of doing. All right, so you see what started the series, the war, as I would call it, is I received all this from them. And now we've gone through 1, 2, 3, and now we're right here, I believe. Yep. Right here?
Yep. You hit the next one. Bring it bigger.
Okay. All right. We did not admit we sell as the value building. We stated that we build one building that is your building. If the customer wants scissor trusses, they got it, 4,000, da, 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 da. The problem is they're all add-ons. Why don't they tell people, if they're going to compete with this apples to apples, and I'll show you what they were doing. Okay, I might add on question on Fortify someone after he refused to sign off on the spec sheet when presented with apples to apples comparison. He wouldn't sign the spec sheet, yet he wanted to convince the customer he was building the same thing as me. He wasn't, and we'll show that right here. Well, no we won't. Oh, now you see, doesn't give you a lot of information here, do you? That's what they're running right now. And I'll beat this by $1,000 with a spec sheet, but I don't know what's in here. Over here, I'm going to give you some of the things, but I'm going to send you a spec sheet on this ad. Okay? Well, Mr. Hamilton, I got so much, I'm 200 buildings behind. If you don't want to, hey, you don't have to take this information. If you want to do business with, go for it, spend your money. But you need to know what they're doing. You haven't been sitting in Baton Rouge watching people get burnt. I have for 15 years. Now, you can take my information, throw it in the trash can, sir. But right now, I got so much business. Why don't you come see, I'll show you all the buildings I got behind. I welcome you to come, take a tour. But I'm going to tell you right now, that's not the problem. The problem is this, watch. You want to end up like this? Yeah, you want to end up like this, right? You want your friends to end up like this, right? That's the problem, right? And if you don't understand that, so be it. Turn off the TV, turn off the screen. But I'm going to tell you right now, there's no imagining here. I've been doing this for 26 years. I've been a state licensed contractor. I don't play this little game. But I'm going to tell you something. These people right here, they lie to people. Okay? And if you'd like to continue on, go ahead, ask me a question. I'll be glad to answer it. But I'm going to tell you the problem with this, folks. You apparently are friends with some of these cats, and that's fine and dandy. Huh?
He's friends with Ryan.
Yeah, you're friends with Ryan Barrett. Well, you know what? Ron and them need to. Now, I didn't start this. Let's go back and let me show you what happened here. Watch. If he didn't want me to do this to him, he shouldn't have. Where's it at? He shouldn't have done this. He started this, not me. He sent all this to me, not me. But I'll tell you what. If you're going to do it, I'm going to respond. And if you don't want to, if you want to do, that's you're fine. It's your money. It's all y'all's money. All I'm trying to tell you is there's some questions to be asked. And you better ask them. Or you can end up like a bunch of people who lost their money. If you knew some of the people that them other guys took, who some of them ain't got their money yet. But I guess that's okay. We're going to sit here and just close our eyes to the wrong that's being done. Well, I can't do that because as chairman of the State Contractors Board, I got to deal with it later. Okay? You don't want to know that your contractor's only been a contractor for 6 months? If it doesn't matter to you, throw it in the trash can. Remember, because they fought me. Mr. Williams, I'll tell you why. Because they fought, and they fought, and they fought. We did change the law last year.
You can't just change the law.
Yeah, it's not as easy as you think. If you know, I go to Baton Rouge a lot, but I'll tell you right now, if I could, it's not that I didn't try. I tried, and finally, I got it done. But it takes time. But now we fixed it. Now they're either going to be licensed contractors or they're nothing at all. But let me ask you this, who else was trying to change it? Nobody. So instead of, I don't know what your point is, except I don't recall anybody standing with me to try to change it. I tried to change it and I finally got it done. It took a long time. They fought it. Don't you think they would fight it? Of course they'd fight it. They didn't want to be licensed. They wanted to operate under that crazy home improvement law. No testing at all. Anybody could go get a license. They could bill up to $75,000 without any testing whatsoever. Why do you think there were so many contractor fraud cases when the storm came through? Why do you think we got so many cases when we go before the board? I tell you, why don't y'all all come to the Baton Rouge one month and visit with us? No, right here, watch this. I'm going to tell you what, watch this. Where's it at? Where's the conviction list? What?
I get there.
Get me to the list. Let me tell you what, right now, they're operating illegally. They all got caught. So what they were doing, they were telling people they were bidding over $75,000. Okay? They were telling people they were contractors when they were not. And this is what happened when we caught them. They got convicted by us. A bunch of them got convicted or got charged by the state. Okay? Yeah, so they were operating illegally when they went over that threshold of $75,000. But the problem you have is people were not educated enough to know that a home improvement registration, not even a contractor's license, is what they had. And because they had a little number and they could pull them up, people didn't realize what was going on. Why do you think there were so many cases of fraud? How would you like to be, look, I can go back, they had a lady in Lake Charles, she lost $160,000 because a friend recommended her. I mean, it goes on and on and on. But why don't y'all come to Baton Rouge? Come watch that mess. The charges, it's a mess. And what we're trying to do is get them to be legal, but you need to know what they were capable of doing. You mean to tell me you don't want to know if they broke state law? This one, look, this one's 3 times. And that's just the times we caught them, because they were good. It took some time. Man, give me back where I was at.
You want me to show the board, current board to that one person?
Yeah.
I went down to the picture.
I'm not, Mr.
Hamilton.
Mr. Hamilton. That's 8 weeks of buildings, my friend.
About 100 before that.
And there's another 100 behind it. So if you're friends with your boy at Fortified, just understand, we're shipping out 12 to 13 buildings every week. We're building anywhere from 10 to 12 every week. So that's not my problem. But that's not what this is about. This is about people knowing knowledge. And they, your friend, sent that stuff to me. And if you don't like it, I'm sorry. But he shouldn't have sent that stuff to me. Okay? Now give me back. Yeah, he sent all this. Well, I'm just responding. I respond a little different than most. I'm come live. There's a difference. Give me back where I was at.
I walked out. I think you're right.
All right. Go to the next one.
You should have to go.
All right. You want to see what they're doing? Y'all really want to? What's this?
We go to commercial?
Go to commercial. Let me see. Okay, I'm back. I had to catch that call. But anyway, this is what we send to all our customers, every customer. If you can see what he did, he checked everything, right? Now the problem with that is, down here, one, there's no warranty on anything they do. Okay? 29 gauge, he checked 26 gauge. I guess you think that's proper, Mr. Williams. Go to the next one. Now look at this. Everything over here, he checked and it wasn't right. Why would you do that? I mean, look at this. He said standard MC Grant 2x6 address. Nowhere does it say that. All refer 2x6. Well, Perlin's 2x4s, not 2x6s. I mean, this is serious. Now, I know he may be your friend, but tell him quit doing that silliness and quit telling people you build the same thing as us. They don't. That's why we put out these spec sheets. You know, when I bid on commercial jobs or whatever the size job they are, I always get a spec sheet for the bidding. That's a real spec sheet because I'm very precise in everything we're doing. And every customer, that's the first thing we send to them. This kind of stuff, they got caught doing it. I can't help that. So if you're going to defend them, understand what they're doing. You'll go to the next one. All right, so Tuesday, we're going to do 20,000 buildings on the ground. Wednesday, mattress salesman. Thursday, community involvement. Friday, undetailed advertising. Okay? That's what we got left to do for to finish up all the questions or all the comments he made towards me. Okay? And I've invited him to come on here, by the way, Mr. Williams. I've invited him to come every day. But everything I do, if you go look at it, is documented, it's factual, this is what's happened. When they got their license, the whole 9 yards. Tell me something. Why did they wait all these years to get a licensed contractor? Why? But they always tried to bid above the 75,000 and they got caught. That's what happened. They all got caught. Okay? But I appreciate the comment, and like I said, if you want to call in and talk about it, I'll be glad to talk about it too. But the bottom line is, you can take this information and throw it in the trash can. I don't charge like an attorney. You can use it. You can spend your money where you want. If you're watching, I just want you to know what you're dealing with. And when I did a poll of customers, they all it came back 100% was glad to have the knowledge of what was going on. Because they're not going to tell you. Why would they tell you that? They don't want to tell you they've been convicted of that. They don't want to tell you that they don't have no reviews to speak of. They don't want to tell you none of that stuff because it hurts them. It's a negative. Okay? But you have a right to know. A lot of people who come before the board, had they followed the red flags, would not have got burnt. That's all.
You got a comment?
Go ahead. What you got?
It says, call me stupid, but your spec sheet has no information on which building is quoted.
I got 3 spec sheets. Mr. Corville,
Can we go back to it?
go back to them. There's 3 spec sheets, Mr. Corville. They're supposed to send these out to every customer that calls. 3 spec sheets. I mean, I don't know which building you got, but you're supposed to get a spec sheet on every one of these buildings. And nobody's calling you stupid. I didn't say that. I don't think you're stupid, but your question is a fair question. I don't mind answering it. But no, every customer's supposed to get a spec sheet just like this on every building. We have a spec sheet on every building. And if you go back to the descriptions of this. What he said?
He says, it seems to me the guy was defending his sales rep and his company. You gotta respect that.
Well, he can, but you got to respect me for responding. What's wrong with me responding, Mr. Williams?
You're defending your company.
I'm defending my position. You're right. He can do that if he'd like to, but I have a right to defend me too, don't I? Okay, the one you're comparing to, there's no information on the top. What's he talking about there?
I guess he means like the type of building, like a 30 by 50, but he doesn't know that doesn't change.
That doesn't change, sir. No. All value, this here's a spec sheet on elite. All elite buildings, no matter what size, are going to come with this. No matter what size signature, no matter what size value. They're all going to, this is what they come with. Boom, boom, boom. Nothing changes. Okay? If that's what you're talking about. I don't know what you're talking about. But yeah, no matter what, all elite buildings come standard. Okay? Keep asking the question. I appreciate y'all asking me. I'll be glad to answer it. No problem. You got anything else you want to ask me? Just keep on, because let me keep going. If you got something, I'll stop and go back. Keep going. All right, so I'm going to talk about post frame over steel buildings. If you recall, it's been a while since we talked about this, but you see in steel, the columns are going to be 15 to 20 feet apart. We're going to be 10 feet apart, therefore we'll have twice as many columns in our buildings in post frame. Okay? We're going to put our girts and purlins 2 feet apart. They're going to put their girts and purlins 3 to 5 feet apart. Therefore, we're going to have twice as many girts and purlins on our buildings. And then you get to the trusses. Depending on what building, the elite buildings will be 3 feet, the other buildings are 5 feet. They're putting their trusses every 15 to 20 feet. Therefore, we have way more trusses. Now, what that means is when we put the cladding, which is the metal on these buildings, whether it's steel, whether it's wood, we're going to have way more screws attached to the outer frame. And that's where the real strength is. Okay? Unlike this, the only thing holding these steel buildings down is these anchor bolts. And when these anchor bolts rust, you run into these problems. They deteriorate over time. Whereas, you see, this is black iron, this is galvanized, this is stainless steel. This is a 2-year graph of what happens. Okay? Now, and then when we do it, we go into a post protector. Your next slide. You have another slide. Back up, back up, back up, back up. Okay. We're going to go on the ground 3 to 4 feet with a post protector. They're going to sit on top of the slab, exposed, and that's going to take maintenance. If you close it in, you can't get to it. Over here, there's nothing at ground contact because they're inside the post protector. All your skirt boards are wrapped. Way better process. Okay, go to the next one. Go back. Keep going. All right. Most standard buildings, steel buildings, are going to come with a 2 and 12. We come with a standard 5 and 12 on our elite and signatures, 4 and 12 on our values. Okay. I never could figure this out. People that build barnuminiums, if you buy a steel building and do this, you're building 2 buildings. It's very expensive to do it this way. I mean, look at this. It'd have been just easy just to cover this. We use all treated wood. This is white wood, but we would have used all treated wood. Next. All right, so this week, hey, the 30 by 30 by 12 for $21,999. That's only $24 a square foot. This is what you look for to meet your budget. This is where you see if you got the deal per square foot. Okay? All right, we got a 30 by 50 by 12, $29,999. These are my value buildings. These are our 3-star buildings. This is $19.99 a square foot. This is a 40 by 60 by 12 for $41,999. Only $17 a square foot. Yeah, Mr. Tackett's right. If y'all want to read what Mr. Tackett said. And then we'll beat anybody's price in writing by $1,000. And I'm going to give you a spec sheet, okay? To whenever you go around, if you're going to shop it, make sure that that customer, that competitor, signs off on what I'm offering you. If he doesn't, then it's not apples to apples. But let me tell you what you get for free. You get all this for free from a company that's done all this, not a bunch of X's. Never been convicted, legitimate facility, survived 16 hurricanes, 500 reviews, A+ accredited, licenses 23, 0 violations, 20 years plus in the business. Okay, you get all that for free. But we'll still beat them by $1,000 if I can see a spec sheet. What's he doing?
Which one?
I signed a, wait, hold on. Why did you go after the employee instead of the company? John, because you're trying to belittle a single person instead of, well, that's your opinion. I disagree with you. He's the guy that's lying to the guy. Okay? You know what? He's the guy that told this guy, he's the guy that's doing all the checking, right? All right? I went after both of them because both of them are wrong. Okay? But hey, I respect your opinion, but I totally disagree. Now, I signed a contract with you last year on a 40 by 60 quality. But see, quality is not the new building, the signature. No, I can't change a building. Okay, we changed a lot of things, Mr. Hargrave. I wish I'd have been building that building at the time, but we weren't. That's the building that you agreed to buy. Therefore, we stick to that agreement. Now, if you want to upgrade to the 2x8 trusses and all, that's fine. But the bottom line is, we weren't building that building at the time. It'd be like if I manufactured a car and started adding things and you bought a car already, you couldn't change that either. Okay? But you can upgrade, and I'll try to help you with that if you want to call me. Be glad to work with you. And there's not, you didn't buy a signature building. We weren't selling that package at the time. You can't change things. You just, it doesn't work that way. I wish it did, but it doesn't work that way. Okay? What else you got? That's it. Let's keep going. All right. Call a building specialist, open 24/7. You can call them after 5 o'clock. They'll take your call. They'll work with you. Okay? And that's it for today. But I enjoyed all the going back and forth. Always, jump in and we'll work with you. But, the problem you have here, in my opinion, is that a lot of people are friends with some of these guys, and what's being brought out about them is not good. So what you ought to do is call them and say, why don't you straighten up so you can't put that stuff on there? Okay? Or tell people that you've changed, whatever. But that's not my job. My job is to tell you the difference between us and them, and my other job is to make sure I don't see you in Baton Rouge because you got taken, like a bunch of people have been taken. I can't believe any of y'all don't understand that, or some of y'all don't understand that. It's not fun to see an elderly couple or someone who's not familiar with construction to be taken advantage of, because a lot of these people can't afford this kind of stuff. And it's devastating to them. Devastating. I've been there 15 years. I've seen a lot. And I'm telling you, it's not pretty. I feel sorry for those people. I wish they'd have, called or checked with the licensing board. But it's terrible when it happens. And until you're there to see that stuff, maybe you keep believing that stuff. And I'm telling you, they need to cut that out. They need to cut it out. But I can't change what they've done. But like I said, if you look at what happened in that quote, that's pretty serious. Pretty serious, in my opinion. But you say, well, go after the company. Well, they're tied together. They're all one. He just happens to be the one on the thing. And everything I said was true about him in the story. But look, thank you all for listening. I appreciate y'all watching and comments. We will always respectfully disagree, but I'll be glad to take any question at any time. So look, give us a call at 337-515-2154 or call us at 337-214-0428. My cell number is 337-515-2154. Once again, thank you all for listening. We'll be back tomorrow.